Have you ever felt this way? Since you were a kid, you were always fascinated in the individual little bits and pieces and grains of information that you picked up along the way. And you always wanted to know why things were. And if you're anything like me, it's a then if you are anything like me, then this is a question that probably plagues you inherently. And it's a very deeply human thing to want to know the answer to why something is. Hi there. My name is William McCray. I'm 26 years old, and a four-time dropout at ACC, a QA analyst, and a aspiring developer. And today, I'm going to share with you some things I find pretty fascinating about myself. Now, what I want to walk you through is kind of a timeline of my growth from when I was a child, and I started getting interested in how and why things were, and how it defined me, and how it later defined me going into my adult years. So let's just hop right into it. The first thing I want to tell you about is how when I was a kid, I had a relentless curiosity. I questioned almost everything. Um, and I wanted to understand why something ticked, what the inner machinations of something was. So, to give you an example, I often would break pens as a child. I would unscrew the caps, I unloaded the cartridges, unloaded the springs, left the bodies, who knows where, and I really didn't know how to piece them back together. Um, Catherine told me had an interesting observation about children in a 2016 research paper, and in it, Twomey says that children are not active or not passive observers of their surroundings. Rather, they take on an active role in shaping their understanding, and that's how learning within children goes. So, if you were anything like me, you actively learned from your parents what was and wasn't acceptable. But even as a kid, I always questioned why things were. And to give you an example, could would say, um, somebody would say that that's just the way things were back in the day, and we inherently would have to reply to that. But to me, the way that I looked at it was, why? Why did we think that way? And now I think I've proven to you that I'm a bit of a curious individual. But now I want to kind of shape and show you how that um, molded me into the professional that I am today. And one of the first things that I want to bring up is this idea of perfection. And I think perfection itself is kind of a myth. It doesn't really exist in nature. When we believe things to be perfect, then we admit that they're unchanging, unmovable, that there's no real reason to pursue another goal because by essence we're already admitting that we're perfect in something. And that's kind of a contradictory nature. I'll give you an example. Within QA, we can say we are 99% certain of a specific product that we're shipping out that it's free of any major errors or bugs. And we can't say 100% though. We can say as close to 99 as possible. And this is something that I think is inherent when we are creating and crafting goals. We tend to veer towards perfection. But let me step back a little, and I'll tell you about how curiosity even shaped me as an adult. recently I had a conversation, a long, very hard conversation with myself about who I am, what I want to be, where I want to be, and what defines me. And in that conversation, I really saw and asked as many questions as I possibly could about myself, um, that would propel me forward. And I kept on questioning everything. The smallest details I could think of became questions themselves. And really, to give you an example of this in a professional setting, within the year that I've started at Every, I joined a project that was kind of a subset of another, and this project itself had already been shipped back in 2024, and when we shipped this project, it was assumed that there were no major underlying defects, but had I not been curious and checked both the older version and the latest version we were working on at the time, we wouldn't have found the 10 or so defects that we found in the process. And so that's a little bit about myself. You've We've learned how, as a child, I was naturally curious about things and how that kind of relates to children in general. We've talked about how, really, these ideas of curiosity kind of shaped my understanding and perspective as an adult, and how I employed them within my youth, and even a little bit about how they help change me. But now I want to leave you with a question. And that question is why? We asked why as children. Why stop now? Thank you.